Mets podcast. I'm Ian Bosniak, and we'll be joined momentarily by Matthew DeSantis. In today's episode, we'll discuss the current series that's going on between the Mets and the Cubs, as well as their previous one with the St. Louis Cardinals. We'll touch upon the starting pitching, as well as Carlos Mendoza and the autonomy that he's been given by David Stearns. But before we get into all that, remember to give us a follow on Instagram, YouTube, and X. We are at Cup of Mets. Also, be sure to subscribe to the podcast, whether it be on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And last but not least, guys, download the SeatGeek app, punch in code Cup of Mets at first purchase to get $20 off. And hell, you want to go to multiple games? Use multiple emails. Continue to get $20 off. It all works the same. And with that, episode 6 of season 3. Here we go. Let's do it. Matthew, how we doing, man? How was Florida?
It was great. The weather was 85 every day. The drinks were cold.
Nice.
It was definitely better than being in New York, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, you
And
came back. You came back right in time. We had 80s the other day, 70s now. Hopefully
yeah,
we hopefully we continue this trajectory here.
for sure. And going to next Saturday's game, the 11th versus the Braves for the bobblehead, the
Got it.
London bobblehead. Dude, it's gonna be a zoo. So
Dude, when Rob and I went to the game on Attaboy DJ Stewart, by the way, we're recording this episode during the third game of the Mets Cubs series, by the way. So, if
Wednesday, May 1st.
thank you for the date. So if you're listening on May 2nd and we make some erratic noises or we go crazy, it's because we're watching something that you now know unfolds. Whether it be good or bad for the Mets. But well, listen, man, I'm glad you had a good time. And talking about the Mets, because this is a Mets podcast. Just a few quick notes from tonight's game. Jose Budo took the bump, really rebounded nicely from his last start. I mean, we're going to discuss the starting pitching in a little bit of depth later on in the episode. But again, Jose Budo rebounded nicely, 6 innings, 1 earned run, 4 hits, 2 walks, and 6 Ks. Thus far, the bullpen between Jorge Lopez and Jake Diekman were in the eighth right now as we're speaking. They've held down the job, and the bullpen's been tremendous, and obviously the rotation is starting to form into shape. In addition to that, Francisco Lindor exited with flu-like symptoms. Again, that's best case scenario if he's going to be removed from a game. And Carlos, I almost called him Jose Mendoza. I don't know why. Carlos Mendoza, Carlos Mendoza, said that he may be giving Francisco Lindor a day off over the coming days, kind of similar to what they did with Brandon Nimmo tonight. So obviously Lindor loves to post up every day, but maybe this flu will give him some time off. And just what's gone on thus far here in the Mets Cubs series, as I mentioned, this is the third game of the set. They've split the first two. Last night, the Mets took home 4-2 victory on Dollar Dog Night. How many dogs were sold? I forget the number. Do you
40,
know?
I think it was like 44,000 something.
Wow. I heard they ordered
Yeah, ton of hot
like
dogs.
70,000 hot dogs or something like that.
I'm sure.
Which is a crazy number. That's wild. But yeah, they won 4-2 last night. Sean Manaea was good, and he went 5 innings. Again, the walks were an issue. Thankfully, DJ Stewart was there to pick him up, hit a big 3-run home run. Sent the crowd into a frenzy. But Manaea went 5 innings, gave up 3 hits, 1 earned run, 3 strikeouts, 4 walks. The bullpen, again, though, just tremendous. And then in the first game of the series, the Mets ended up losing 3-1. And you know, I want to talk about this because, uh it was a bad loss. Luis Severino went 8 innings. He was absolutely dominant. His best start in years.
Yeah.
Um, First off, what would you see from Sevi there? I mean, he looked like a dog.
I think he looked like prime time Sevy back in the day when he came up with the Yankees as a prospect when he was really looking good. But I think he's starting to show um just what he's got as he's getting healthier and healthier and getting more outings under his belt. I think he looked fantastic. And my prediction earlier at the beginning of the year was that Sevy would be in the NL Cy Young race, and I'm not going to jump that far and go to those measures. But he's pitching well. He's pitching well.
I mean, 231 ERA. I'm not going to go ahead and look at his FIP. I don't have
Let's
Fangraphs
be
up.
realistic. The only person that's pitching terrible in our rotation right now is Adrian Hauser. The only person.
Yep. The only person when Rob and I went to the game, Hauser started and we got there in the bottom half of the first inning. We were already down 4-0. Um, Hauser to me is almost, again, there's a pitch clock. The games move much quicker, but Hauser almost reminds me of like the human rain delay in Steve Traxel. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
I just feel like the games kind of like drag on a little bit. There's a bunch of walks. Um, he can't command much of his pitches, and then the hitters are jumping all over his sinker. And obviously that's his go-to bread and butter pitch. He's a ground ball pitcher, so if that's not working, then they're kind of in trouble. Um, but again, Severino 231 ERA the other night, 8 innings, 1 hit allowed. He took a no hitter into the 8th inning. 1 earned run allowed, 2 walks, 5 Ks. Um, just a really, really great start by him. And then Edwin Diaz, unfortunately, gave up a 2-run dinger to Christopher Morel, who took a fastball that was, you know, right over the cock and he drove it out to left field. But the biggest thing that I want to talk about, though, is Luis Severino's run that he gave up. What Starling Marte, man. Come on.
Yeah. Inning over.
First and second, 1 out. Tyrone Taylor strikes out on 3 or 4 pitches, and Marte just goes down swinging as well. All right, so they're gonna try to make a
Hmm.
nice little comeback in the ninth. All right, um,
Yeah.
but Edwin Diaz gave up the home run. Yada yada yada. Joey Wendle. Okay, Joey Wendle was put into the game in the 8th inning for defensive purposes to replace Mark Vientos. You would think that would be the right move. Uh, Essentially, the Cubs had first and third with 1 out, and there was a ground ball slowly hit, but right at Wendell, who was playing in. And rather than going home with the ball when the runner was immediately running on contact, he decides to go to second base with a fast runner up at the dish and completely allows the tying run to score. He had no shot at a double play. And obviously Diaz gave up those 2 runs that put the Cubs over the top, but I blamed Joey Wendell for that entire game. Again, we don't know if, Edwin Diaz would have come in the ninth and given up that 2-run home run and made it 2-1. But again, things play out, and Joey Wendell's miscue there really fucked the Mets.
Dude, Joey Wendle has been nothing short of fucking horrible for the Mets. Um, I think his every part of his game has been terrible. I don't think that he even deserves a roster spot at this point as we stand on May 1st. I think that there's guys at AAA that offer more. Like if they're and I know that they don't just hand out 40-man roster spots, but if I were them, I would DFA him, call up like a Luke Ritter. He can play all the infield spots and he can play outfield. Like, got to see what some of these younger guys like can do instead of a Joey Wendell. Like, come on, he's not a part of the team's future, and neither are guys just rotting away in AAA.
He was only he was only paid 2 mil. You know what I mean? So it's not like the Mets would be
Yeah,
dropping a bunch of cash when if they were to DFA him. Obviously, you would like to see it play out better. But again, thus far, offensively speaking, we don't really need to get into that. He's hit 250, over 25 plate appearances. Um, but he's been worth a negative point one WAR, and a lot of that's on the defensive end. And that's primarily a reason why he was brought in, along with his versatility. He's played 6 games at second base, 4 at third, and 1 at short thus far. Um, I just, it was such a boneheaded mistake to go to second base. And he said in the post game that he already committed. And I understand that. I was an infielder. Matt, what position did you play?
yeah, all over, but pretty much second base.
All right, yeah. So, you understand, you move to a certain, you pivot to the left, you pivot to the right, right? As soon as you kind of twist your torso, you are committed. I understand that. But at the same time, Wendell had a prime opportunity. His head, to me, when I was watching the video, it looked like his head was only a second base. His torso wasn't fully turned. Same with his feet. His feet weren't planted towards second base. So it was just such a botch play from a veteran who, again, is stable in the field. And, it brings to question, as you said, you would DFA him, right? I agree. I would DFA him as well. It is early. It is May 1st. But as you brought up Luke Ritter, right? That's one name. There are a couple of other names. But in between all of this, the Mets did call up Mark Vientos because Starling Marte had to go on the bereavement list for a few days. And Mark Vientos was really good. He hit game-winning home run against the Cardinals in the series finale, which was so needed because the Mets lost the first two and they had started going into a little bit of a rut. And it was actually a nice birthday present because that was my birthday on the 28th.
Sure.
But yeah, Mark Vantos came up. He did his thing. He hit a massive pinch hit, 2-run home run. Um, and through his 7 at bats, he collected 3 hits, 2 ribbies, 1286 OPS. Again, it's only 7 at bats, so that really doesn't mean a whole lot, but it gives a thought to what is Vientos' spot on this roster now that JD Martinez is in the lineup. The
Yeah.
Mets seem committed to Brett Beatty at third, who is struggling, by the way. And then, obviously the Mets chose to keep Joey Wendle opposed to Mark Vientos because Mark Vientos is essentially a one-dimensional, maybe two-dimensional player, if you want to say. Maybe he could play a little first base, but when does Alonso need a blow? You know what I mean? So, um,
Yeah.
to me, Vientos looks good at the dish, and he also looks pretty solid in the field. And I'm trying to figure out what his role is moving forward on this club.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not figuring it out at all because they keep sending him back to AAA. So at this point, I'm starting to feel bad for the kid and starting to get along the side of play him or trade him because he's just losing value. And we've seen players like, Dom Smith, who shout out to Dom Smith, got signed by Boston today
Yeah, saw that.
and hit a RB. He hit a double today. So started today. So good for him.
Good for him.
So realistically, when it comes to Vientos, I would love to see him get a lot of at bats, but they're just not giving it to him. I don't know if it's a trust issue or if they don't envision him as someone as long term as we think. But like I said, I would trade him while he has value and while people think he can still hit the ball before we get nothing for him.
Yeah. And by the way, we're headed to the bottom of the ninth inning. And also another pitcher that's looked really good. Don't mean to completely go off subject, but Sean Reed Foley has looked really good since joining the pen. But that's a side note. But yeah, I agree. I also think I don't know if necessarily it's a trust issue, but I also think it's kind of like where are the at bats? Because I feel as if they are more committed and they see the higher ceiling in Brett Beatty, which we all do, right? But you know, I got to be honest, like Beatty has struggled recently, and again, you can't draw crazy conclusions because it's so early. But over Beatty's last 15 games after his really hot start, he's only driven in 1 run, has struck out 6 times in 40 ABs, and he's hitting 175, getting on base at a 267 clip, and slugging only 200. So to me, it was like, yeah, I don't know what to do with Vientos because you have JD Martinez, who's essentially a very similar player. You also have Alonso and Beatty, but the Mets could have sent Brett Beatty down.
Yeah, and they definitely could have done that, but I've always envisioned that they thought that Beatty was the third baseman of the future, so let's keep him up. But you're right, like you said, he hasn't been doing anything either. So honestly, as we get through a month of the season, I'm not very encouraged by our third base play. Um, I don't think any of their defense has been crazy. Their bat hasn't been crazy. So I mean, obviously we have 5 months to go, but shit just doesn't look good at that position right now. And I'm not complaining because right now we don't look as bad as I thought we'd look. And there's a lot of bright spots. Guys like Reed Garrett, who people were like, "Who the heck is this guy?"
Oh my
And he
gosh.
came out now. He has like a 0.53 ERA or something crazy like that.
If he keeps this up, he's going to Arlington in the summer, man. He's going to the Midsummer Classic.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. It's either that or if we're out of it, he's getting traded for a king's ransom. So it's
Yeah,
realistically a win-win at this point. But
it always
it's
comes to
all about
trade
how the
season,
Mets
man.
view it because I think right now we're about 6 or so games behind Philly and Atlanta, and those two teams are what I call like the top tier powerhouses.
I agree,
Where
but
they're just gonna keep running through their schedule and winning.
I agree, but remember, Diamondback showed it last year. We just got to squeeze in there. Just got to squeeze in there somehow. 84,
Yeah, but
85 wins.
I know, I get it. Trust me, I want to squeeze in there.
Yeah.
But do we have the roster and the team to actually do that and go a little further than we think?
Hell
Who
yeah. What are
knows?
you talking about? Right now, bottom of the ninth inning, leading off the inning is Joey Wendle. Of course.
He fucking stinks. Watch, he's gonna strike out.
I'm watching on a stream, so it's definitely delayed as well. But staying
Uh,
on staying on that whole Beatty Vientos thing, a lot of people are, I think I shot out a tweet that said something along the lines of they could have, sent down and used an option of Beatty. Wendell grounds out the second one out. Um,
mhm. What a
they
surprise.
yeah, they could have and Beatty down and used one of his options and people were like, "Oh, he got off to such a hot start, this, that, and the third." Yeah, he did. Um, but something that I just want to point out, like it's not necessarily like the outs that he's making right now are hard hit balls and that are like right on the barrel. He's not really barreling up the ball. You know me.
Yeah.
I hit the baseball savant. It's my bread and butter. The analytics. Oh, Pete Alonso just got hit. Here we go. Runner on first. Um, his average exit velocity this season is 85 miles per hour. That's within the seventh percentile. His barrel percentage is within the 14th percentile.
Interesting.
2.9, so 3%. Okay. His hard hit percentage, 17th percentile. His sweet spot, 17th percentile. His chase rate, 18th percentile. Expected slugging, 18th percentile. Expected batting average, 17th percentile. So it's not, let's go, 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 get down. Yeah, baby, double by JD Martinez.
Oh, wow.
Second and third, one out. Oh man, this could be fun. Watch, I
Let's
just said that. I'm gonna
go.
knock on wood.
Let's go, Mets.
Let's do it. Oh, JD, because I was talking, I didn't even see it. Oh, he just missed it. Oh, and Pete Crow Armstrong just missed.
How about DJ Stewart, bro? Keep him. Don't let
Oh,
him go. Like, don't like. There's so many people. There's multiple guys on the team that deserve to go before him.
100%. DJ Stewart's been great. The home run the other day was electric. But
Electric.
just to cap off the whole Beatty Vientos thing, I just want to say to those who believe that Beatty should remain and he should, get all those ABs. It's not like the advanced metrics are really proving otherwise. So just something to note
Yeah.
on Vientos and Beatty, and hopefully we see Mark soon. I really feel bad for the guy, as you said before, and hopefully, uh, he can appear soon. Um,
Yeah.
Staying on the subject of the starting pitching, or going back to the subject of starting pitching, I should say, the last several games, just throw it out there. I'm just going to put 4 appearances. And of course, one of them is not Adrian Hauser, who has really struggled. Um, Jose Quintana went 8 innings. That was also Carlos Mendoza's decision to keep him out there for the eighth inning, which we'll touch upon. Luis Severino, as we mentioned before, went 8 innings as well. Sean Manaea went 5 innings. Again, the walks were an issue. His pitch count was high, but he did only allow one earned run. And Jose Budo tonight, 6 innings, one earned run. What are you seeing from the starting pitchers that is, leading to to the success because it's not like aside from Severino, who's been an all-star before, and so is Quintana, but Quintana hasn't been that guy in years, even though 2 years ago he had a really good season for the Cardinals and the Pirates. But what do you think's attributing to their success on the mound? Because to me, they're just racking up a lot of swing and misses. The hitters look really off balance, and it looks like they're really going in there with a plan, and that is fly ball to left. Alonso's tagging. Here we go. The throw home. He's safe. Oh, they called him out. You got a challenge. Challenge. Yeah, they're challenging. All
Throw him
right.
out.
He threw him out. What are they challenging? Let's see. Is he blocking the plate? Yeah, he's blocking the plate. And he's also
Anyways,
safe.
I
He's
think
also
I
safe.
th- I think I think the Mets realistically, their pitching staff, they know that I wouldn't say their expectations weren't high. So they're kind of just going out there and they're trying to play their best ball. Quintana, that game, not 8 innings, that was a great game. Um
Tremendous.
he's giving us good baseball. A lot of these guys are. And the Mets are going to be in an interesting spot if they're, 5 games out of a wild card spot come July. Are they giving up? Are they mortgaging their future with prospects to bring in more guys at the deadline, or are they selling off to try and bolster their farm system even more? That's just all things that I kind of think about as a prospect guy.
Sure. Absolutely.
But
And
as
I
we
think,
go into prospects, we have a guy named Christian Scott who could very much be ready as in terms of being a part of our rotation as early as this month. I think so.
yeah,
It's more wait and see.
Jeremy Hefner. Jeremy Hefner came out and said that he's a legitimate major league ready pitcher. And that's really great to see. He's dominating at the AAA level. He struck out 36 and 25 and a third of an inning. He's 3-0 in 5 games, 3.20 ERA, point 0.7 whip. So again, Christian Scott having a guy that can, you know, throw throw heat, but at the same time also work in those breaking pitches. At just 24 years old, he's really kind of established himself. And again, it's not like he was, a high draft choice, fifth round in the 2021 draft, 142nd overall pick. I don't know. I think we could see Christian Scott, as you said, within this upcoming month. And I think that it all kind of just depends on. I'm sorry, I'm so distracted by this game. I think it all kind of depends on the Mets' needs at the moment. And if Adrian Hauser can't get his stuff together, you obviously think that Christian Scott will be that guy to call on, considering Jose Budo is up already. Another starting pitcher that is set to make another bullpen appearance, which will be his second, Kodai Senga appears to be on his way back. What an addition that would be if he can get back by towards the end of May, beginning of June. That would be such a boost for this rotation, especially if then they add in a Christian Scott who can come up and make an impact at the big league level immediately.
Yeah, that'd be incredible. We love Senga and he's our ace, so getting him bolsters the rotation and helps the team, gets us more wins. So I really hope that he comes back and he comes back like he was playing last season.
Sure. I think they're about to make the call here. He's out. Oh my gosh, they kept it all. Oh my gosh, Mendoza's going crazy. Mendoza's about to go crazy.
So the game is over,
The
or is there
game's
one out?
over.
Oh shit! Wow.
That's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. He was blocking the plate, and Pete Alonso was also fucking safe. His hand was coming down on the plate.
Major League Baseball is a fucking joke. So is the officiating in all major sports, and it's terrible because so many people out
Mendoza
there are betting on these games using their hard-earned money, and they promote that shit so much they jam it down these people's throats, and they can't even get calls right.
and Hector Neris is such a fucking pussy. He's fucking running around the field, gloating and shit. What a load of crap. Fuck the officiating. Umps were trash. Who are the umps in this game? We can go after them. Let's say, who is it? Jeez, man. It was Charlie Ramos behind the plate, Chad Fairchild at first, Ryan Willis at second, and Carlos Torres at third base. Fuck you all. Fuck you all.
Literally.
But, you know, as we were talking about Carlos Mendoza, just getting infuriated there, there was a report that came out by Andy Martino regarding the fact that David Stearns, opposed to previous Mets front office generals, I'll say, whether it be Brody Van Wagenen or a Zach Scott or a Billy Epler, right? David Stearns is giving a ton of autonomy to Carlos Mendoza. Again, I said it before. Quintana staying out there for the eighth inning was his call. But he's also, per a source to Andy Martino, there were several plays or several instances this season where Carlos Mendoza may have thought that he would have to explain himself to David Stearns for a certain decision that he made. However, no one's been in the office. No one has spoken to him. He's doing his own thing. And I think that that's great for the game, especially a young manager. Obviously, you want to guide him in the right direction. And that's why they've given him the tools of John Gibbons and, and the rest of the coaching staff. But I think the autonomy, giving the autonomy to a manager is really important because he's able to set a tone not only on the field, but off the field as well.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking about Zach Scott, I just wanted to play this regarding, and we're playing the Chicago Cubs, and Pete Crow Armstrong's back. So this is a little clip from his podcast, and this is him talking a little bit about the trade he made.
Yeah.
Let's listen along real quick. Hold on.
Is apt. My bias was from how we saw him in Boston in the draft. I thought there was a lot of fourth outfielder risk with him. Loved the defense. The unknown was the bat. He was ranked our fifth highest prospect according to MLB Pipeline at the time. So he wasn't regarded as even one of our top prospects. And I'd say his value, industry value, reflected that. Obviously, in hindsight, that's a bad long-term decision. The big league players produced. But if you looked at Pete Crow Armstrong as just purely as an asset, obviously we sold lower than his peak value, but I give the player a ton of credit for that. He's since, by my estimate, tripled his industry value since that trade, which is unbelievable for him. I just tip my hat to him and say that that's great for him long term. Objectively wasn't a good decision for the Mets. I didn't feel great about it. There weren't a lot of people in the room that were jumping up and down to do the trade, and our job is to get it right more often than we get it wrong. I got that one wrong.
No shit, buddy. No shit. You got that one wrong.
That's great.
Fucking Javi Baez is the worst player in Major League Baseball.
That trade in itself was so interesting because our chances of making the playoffs were slim as it was. And then they went ahead and made that deal. Listen, Javi Baez, yes, he is the worst hitter in baseball. He did hit 299 for us, which is so.
He played well for us.
He really
played very well for us. But I mean, like Zach Scott said, he undersold him. So it's like he sold him low as a prospect, as he was our number 5. So not really too sure what else to say.
and it's funny too that he references MLB Pipeline because MLB Pipeline isn't even the premier source for prospect lists. Not saying that MLB Pipeline's lists aren't credible and good. They are. But, a lot of people go to Baseball America, Baseball Prospectus, so many different spots, right? But I just found it interesting that he just said MLB Pipeline. And obviously, as you said before, no shit, that was a bad trade. Just two more things before we look ahead and wrap up episode 6 here of season 3. The offense has been struggling as of recent. Again, they got shut out tonight, 1-0. When they've won the last couple games, it's been by a slim margin. Two things. Give me your assessment of JD Martinez thus far, because I think he's looked really good. I think that he has struggled a little bit when it comes to, he's been a little late, when it comes to breaking pitches away as well as fastballs up in the zone. But then he's also made a ton of contact. He got, as I said before, he ripped a double to right tonight. He's gotten a hit in every single game that he's played in thus far. And then the other, so again, Martinez to me is somebody who I think is looking good, is making an impact. So A, what's your assessment of JD Martinez? And B, given the state of the offense, how much do you think they're missing Mr. Francisco Alvarez, given the lovely production from Narvaez and Nito?
So I think in regards to your first question about JD Martinez, you have to think he didn't have the spring training. So he went out there and he was kind of doing his own thing. He wasn't with the team. So that obviously hurts. I think he's gonna find his groove. I think for what it's worth and the timing of how long he's been on the team, I think he's looked good. He's had a few. His swing looks pretty much like the same old JD Martinez. I'm not too worried about him. How much does the team miss Francisco Alvarez? I mean, they do. They would put him either anywhere from second, batting second to eighth, but wherever he was, he would provide that juice. You throw Francisco Alvarez one down the middle, he's putting it into the bleachers. So yeah, but you're missing that bat big time. You can even stick him at DH if you're gonna throw Narvaez behind the plate. Um, I think Narvaez is a big problem. He fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like
That's my guy that, you're talking about Joey Wendle before saying he stinks. Omar Narvaez sucks, man.
he is so bad. Like he can't get off of our books any sooner. That was such a bad signing. Like I don't know what the fuck Epler was thinking with that one. Like you had the number one prospect in baseball as a catcher, and you signed somebody to what 8 or 9 million per year.
I believe it was between 6 and 8. Brutal.
Yeah,
Brutal.
terrible. And as a who knows, next year we're gonna have a lot of people off the books. So
We can only hope, but Narvaez has been miserable. It's nice to see Nito back up, though. A homegrown kid. You got to root for him, even though he sucks too.
yeah, he's more just like a plug and play catcher. He'll give you your solid defense, but you're not getting anything crazy. You can't rely on his bat.
Yet he hit a
He'll
home
always
run the other
bat.
day.
He'll always bat either eighth or ninth, and you'd be lucky to get like a solid single or a double or a RBI out of him.
I miss Francisco Alvarez. I really do. I
So
miss his
do I.
energy on the field and off. I mean, we're still seeing his smiles in the dugout and whatnot, but it's
Dude, and it sucks because on the minor league side, dude, I don't think Drew Gilbert has played in a while. I don't.
he's
I don't.
injured.
I'm pretty sure Jet Williams is now on the IL. Luckily, Acuna is starting to heat up. We really need to see him heat up.
Yeah, that bat needs to perk up a little bit because that's without a doubt his concern right now. Zach Scott was talking about we didn't see an upside in PCA's bat. It was more so the defense. You know, when it comes to Acuna, it's his versatility, it's his defense, it's his athleticism, but his bat is still kind of the question mark. So we shall see. Um, Last but not least, looking ahead as we finish up the series finale tomorrow afternoon at Citi Field against the Cubs. Ben Brown, the Long Island native, will go ahead and face Adrian Hauser. Adrian Hauser, right now, only 14 strikeouts in his 5 starts. He's posted an 8.37 ERA, and he is 0-3. Then the Mets welcome in. Schedule gets no easier. The Mets welcome in the Tampa Bay Rays. They're 14-18, but again, they're the Rays. They still have that good pitching. On Friday night, it will be at Tropicana Field. 6:50 start. It'll be Aaron Savale for the Rays, and I believe it'll be Jose Quintana taking the bump for the Mets. On Saturday, 7:15 start. It'll be Zach Little or Littell, whatever the hell you want to say, for the Rays. He'll go up against, I believe, Luis Severino, if everything aligns correctly. And then in the series finale on Sunday, Ryan Pepiot will take the bump with his 3.12 ERA, and he will be opposed, I believe, by Sean Mania. So again, the
That be
schedule
solid. So should be a
really
good
solid,
matchup.
really solid. Yeah, and again, the schedule gets no easier. Then the Mets head after Tampa Bay. They head to St. Louis for a 3-game set before having a day off next Thursday, the 9th. And then they welcome in the Braves and the Phillies, and that will be quite fun. Matt,
Yeah, I can't wait to get out there next Saturday, eat some new food. So how's the food you guys had?
oh yeah. Yeah, so long story short,
The new Korean spot, it's called Soulbird.
Solberg. Yeah, so long story short, said it before, Mets were down 4-0. The weather was kind of shitty when Rob and I got there, so we decided that we wanted to try a bunch of the food, new food options. So first and foremost, first round, we went for the garlic bread chicken parm hero, from Italian something something whatever. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it was good, but it was $24, and it was it was bigger, but I kind of felt like I paid for a $24 piece of garlic bread. Not a ton of chicken in there. So
For sure.
that kind of pissed me off a little bit. Rob was like, "Oh, this is good." So I'm like, "All right, we're not on the same page here, but we'll move on." Then of course, Pete Alonso hit his 200th home run that game, but we were on the move for more food. We were actually in I want to say the Honda Club. Um, I think. And that was
That where Soulbird is?
that's where Soulbird was. Rob got the Chai noodles, I believe they're called, with for over fried, not over fried chicken, but fried chicken was on top of it. He
Yeah, they
said it was,
look good.
yeah, it definitely looked good. I didn't try any, but it looked phenomenal, and he praised it. I got the fried chicken poutine French fries. I felt like I was back in Toronto. Toronto was the first time
From
I
so
tried.
wait, you got that from Soulbird?
I got that from Soulbird. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, dude, it was phenomenal. Yeah, it was because it was Korean fried chicken over the
Oh
French
wow.
fries with poutine, gravy, and Parmesan. It was it was
Wow.
delightful. I mean, I felt like I was gonna go into cardiac arrest afterwards, but it was really, really good. And then I had enough to eat at that point. But then if Rob, he never stops eating, so he decided to take a trot out to center field because he needed a little bit of dessert, and he got I guess they call it the egg roll rainbow cookie. It's out in center field. It's actually a part of the French fry factory spot, which makes no sense that it's there. I guess maybe because
Wait, so the place that's like when you look right at the billboard,
yeah,
right at
yes, yes,
the big screen
yes, and it's to
where
the left.
Fox Frites used to be.
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay.
And it's literally right next to the 7 line stand that they have. It's
Gotcha.
right to the right of it. Yeah. But yeah, he said that was really good too, but he couldn't finish it because I think he tapped out at a certain point, understandably so. The dude.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys eat mad food.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't get up. I couldn't get up again. I said, "You're on your own, buddy." I stayed and watched the
Yeah.
game.
Nah, bro. Last year I tried a whole bunch of their new options. I love trying all the new options. Last year I had the I forgot it was like the chopped cheese place.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Lee's Deli chopped cheese. That was good. I went for like a cold April night game, so I got the lobster bisque. That was, dude. It had literally it had claws in there, and I'm a big bisque guy. It was pretty good. What else did I
Same.
have last year?
I'm a biscuit and
The
a chowder guy.
Yeah, me too. And have you ever had Amazing Chicken Company where it's the chicken in the buckets, but
No, I almost
they
went
have
for it though.
dude, they have like potato. They call them like the potato kegs, and they're almost like, I don't, dude. There's just so much there. There's so much in City Field.
That is. I still can't get over this.
I
I'm
I
sorry.
have something on my list for when I get there. It's called Sonny's American Kitchen, Section 102. It looks amazing.
Which kitchen?
It's called Sonny's All American Kitchen. I heard it was really good, and I want to
And
try it.
what section?
102.
102. I'm gonna jot that down. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You pick like 4 things on a different plate. They call it like a home run plate. For their mac and cheese is good. They have like wings on there, tater tots. So,
Ooh, very
fuck
nice.
yeah, man.
Sounds delicious. Now I'm hungry. I had a game tonight. Obviously I'm a coach. So I had a game tonight. I haven't eaten a thing since like 11 a.m. So
All right, bro, go eat up.
I'm gonna eat up because I gotta also get over this. Carlos Mendoza said, and I quote in the post game, I think they made the wrong call when it comes to blocking the plate. And I guarantee you this is not the end of this. Like we're gonna hear about it. Again, nothing's gonna obviously overrule the outcome of tonight's loss, the 1-0 loss. But you'll definitely hear like whether it be a statement from MLB state saying, hey, the umpires, of course they're gonna back up the umpires and this, that, and the third, whatever. But just a
Yeah.
bunch of bullshit tonight on a May, on the first day of May. Mets lose 1-0. Matt, you got anything else?
Nothing really, man. Just want to see some more wins soon. See the pitching. The pitching's good. I just want to see the bats wake up. We need a nice like 15 piece on somebody. Let's do it on Ben Brown.
Let's do it on Ben Brown. A nice welcome home.
Yes, sir. Well,
Again, as mentioned in the intro, give us a follow on YouTube, Instagram, and X. We are at Cup of Mets. Also, be sure to subscribe to the podcast, whether it be on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your favorite content. And last but not least, be sure to download the SeatGeek app, punch in code Cup of Mets to get $20 off of your first purchase. And with that, all right, I'm sorry. I got another quote here. Carlos Mendoza, the foot on top of the plate is illegal, and that's clearly what happened here. Get him, Mendy. Get him. For Matthew
him.
DeSantis, I'm Ian Bosniak. Thank you again for joining us. We'll see you next week. Let's go, Mets. Good night, everybody.
Have a good night, everyone.